Welcome, I'm Mihaela Ignatescu with the news, the headlines. Romanian authorities expect levels of coronavirus infection higher than in the previous waves of the pandemic. On Monday, the Romanian Foreign Minister Bogdan Aurescu held talks with his Pakistani counterpart, Makhdum Shah Mahmoud Hussein Qureshi, part of the visit that the latter is paying to Romania. And the Romanian tennis player Simona Halep wins the Melbourne Somerset 1 tournament. The Romanian authorities expect that in the coming period, new levels of COVID cases that were not reached in the previous waves of the pandemic will be reported, and stress the importance of observing individual protection measures and vaccination. With the extension of the alert state, textile or plastic masks are no longer allowed as of January 8th, the date on which several measures imposed in the context of the spread of the Omicron variant of the coronavirus came into force. Specialized analyses have so far confirmed almost 300 cases of Omicron, but epidemiologists estimate that the actual number of infections with this strain is much higher. One of the largest providers of private medical services in Romania has announced that in just 1 week, the percentage of positive Omicron cases in the studied groups has increased from 35 to 78%. Specialists warn that a difficult period is coming and Romania is likely to get to report 50,000 daily cases over the next 2 weeks under proper testing. The latest report indicates just over 4,700 new cases in 24 hours and 14 associated deaths. Nearly 8 million people have received at least one dose of vaccine in Romania. The United Kingdom is the first country in Western Europe to exceed 150,000 COVID-associated deaths and the seventh in the world after the United States, Brazil, India, Russia, Mexico and Peru. Although Omicron seems less dangerous than the Delta strain, due to the high number of infections, hospitals which are affected by lack of medical staff are being stormed again. In Italy, where a high level of contamination is also reported, a new government decree in Rome will come into force in 2 days, further limiting the activities of people who have not been vaccinated against COVID-19. On the other hand, protests against government measures to combat the pandemic took place on Saturday in several countries. Some 40,000 people protested in Vienna, Austria, where vaccination becomes mandatory as of next month. Several thousand people also protested in several cities in Germany and France. Romanian Foreign Minister Bogdan Aurescu will hold political consultations with his Pakistani counterpart Makhdum Shah Mahmoud Hussein Qureshi on Monday during his official visit to Romania. The visit comes amid recent positive dynamics in bilateral relations, including in the wake of Pakistan's essential support for Romania's efforts to evacuate from Afghanistan its own citizens of allied countries and 156 Afghan citizens at risk in August and September 2021. The two ministers will discuss ways to develop the bilateral relationship, deepen political dialogue, as well as economic and sectoral cooperation. During the visit, a cooperation agreement will be signed between the Romanian Chamber of Commerce and Industry and the Association of Pakistani Chambers of Commerce and Industry, as well as a framework cooperation agreement providing for an exchange of scholarships between the Polytechnic University of Bucharest and the University of Islamabad. The United States and its allies are ready to discuss with Russia during the talks on Ukraine the possibility of each side restricting its military exercises and the deployment of missiles in the region, a senior U.S. official said. In the context of the start of crucial talks in Geneva on Monday, a senior Biden administration official said that the United States was not willing to discuss limits on the deployment of U.S. troops or the position of U.S. forces in the NATO countries in the region. The Geneva talks, followed by other sessions in Brussels and Vienna, are aimed at avoiding a crisis, Reuters reports. The talks take place in the context in which Russia has amassed some 100,000 soldiers along the border with Ukraine, generating fears that it is preparing for an invasion. Moscow, however, says it only wants to end NATO's eastward expansion and is demanding security guarantees, which the United States considers unacceptable. And now sports, Romanian tennis player Simona Halep won the Melbourne Somerset 1 WTA 250 tournament with more than $230,000 in prize money after defeating the Russian Veronika Kudermetsova 6-2, 6-3. After a 2021 season she largely missed because of health problems, Halep, former world leader, had a perfect start this year, winning the 23rd title of her career. This was the last rehearsal for Simona Halep before participating in the Australian Open in January. And that was the news from Bucharest, Radio Romania International. This is Radio Romania International broadcasting from Bucharest. Sunday Show.